I'm Black Zetsu. Today I'm going to explain the Sage mode. If you like the video, don't forget to drop a like. This really helps me. Enjoy watching. It must have been difficult for us to actually talk about the Sage mode because we have seen so rare it in the series. But some actions on in Sage mode we saw are so sharp and excessive. Today I can easily make this video. And let me tell you as I see it, no exaggeration, the Sage mode is OP, really strong. In other words, it's not like a technique used to finish off the opponent directly. Rather, it's a technique that supports you. Boosts your many stats such as speed, strength and durability, sensing ability, reflexes, including ninjutsu, taijutsu and genjutsu. Here, Naruto defeats 6 pains by himself thanks to the Sage mode. And here, Jiraiya knocks down 3 of the pains even with the incomplete Sage mode. And then knocks down one of them again. These pains are much stronger characters than normal. They cannot be so easily spent. Hashirama basically slaps Susanoo armored Ninetales with his Sage mode. And I think the greatest feat ever done with the Sage mode is this man fights blind, basically blind. He delivers so many clear shots in battles. Sasuke is also a fast ninja, so it's not an empty box. And a faster ninja than Sasuke is Tobirama. Of course he has Rinnegan here, but thanks to the Sage mode, he senses his duration and gives reaction. I think definitely one of the most OP things in the Naruto universe is Sage mode. Now let's move on to the details of this mode. First of all, learning the Sage mode is near impossible. Even in the entire Naruto universe, the number of people using the Nether chakra doesn't exceed the fingers of one hand, and 3 of them are Hokage anyway. As you know, someone who can control Nether chakra can enter Sage mode. There are 3 difficulties in learning the Sage mode in my opinion. First, you can learn the Sage mode only from Ryuchi Cave or Mount Byaboku. Finding them is close to impossible. You can reach it with reverse techniques, but in order to do that, you must have already found a place and signed a contract with an animal. Also, in Boruto, Orochimaru says only those who truly seek can find it, and Boruto can find it while just walking. Now I realized that this Boruto universe is really confusing things. In fact, according to your rumor, Itachi just sacrificed himself not to be involved when he heard that the Boruto was going to be animated. Okay, that part was a joke. How funny isn't it? You can write whether you laugh or not in the comments. I guess you aren't, but write it anyway. Back to the topic, the second challenge is to find someone to teach even if you find the place. Okay, there are animals that use Nether chakras in both Ryuchi Cave and Mount Byaboku, but they cannot train you. Only a select few masters can do this. For example, Fukasaku or Great Sage Snake are one of them. The third challenge is your process of learning the Sage mode. Difficult training such as balancing, focusing and more. Now let me give you a preview here. Even if you meet the first 2 conditions, you may not learn the Sage mode. Because in order to learn the Sage mode, you need to have an extremely large chakra reserve. When the user cannot balance the Nether chakra he has collected in his body with his own chakra, if it becomes too much, he turns into an animal which depends on who he learns from. For example, Snake Sage mode is like a snake, Frog Sage mode is like a frog. If it's too little, he will not succeed in technique. That's why you need to have a high level and strong chakra, and also be able to control it well. And another example, because Jiraiya cannot fully balance his Nether chakra even with years of training, he starts to turn into a frog when he enters his Sage mode. He even calls this Frog Sage because he himself couldn't succeed. Or Minato, although he can enter the completed Sage mode, he's weak in Sage mode because his chakra reserve is low. Let's take an example from Orochimaru. Orochimaru's situation is a little different. He learned the Snake Sage mode from snakes in the Ryuchi Cave. However, since his body cannot handle this power, he cannot enter the Sage mode. Learning from snakes is like this. The Sage snakes bites you, and if you can handle this power and hold on to life, you will become a Sage user, just like the cursed seals he left behind. In general, this is the learning part. An extremely rare and hard to learn power. Now let's move on to their powers, which is my favorite part. It gives a different pleasure to most of us while watching it. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's a supportive feature and strengthens all of your chakra based abilities. High durability even if you fall from a great height. Strong enough to stay against a Rhino when it's running at you at its full speed. Strong enough to sense and understand what's going on all over the world. It has many features such as showing reflexes to these things you sense. Your nature chakra based techniques also gets really stronger. For example, this Mokoton technique that Hashirama invokes with the nature chakra. It certainly isn't that powerful when summoning this technique with a normal chakra, but he summons it with his Sage chakra and destroys even the Susanoo armored Ninetales. By the way, the Sage mode of Hashirama is different. If you noticed, I said you can only learn from frogs in Manbyoboku and from snakes in Ryuchi Cave. Hashirama has no signs of either frog or snake mode. I have a theory video about it. The next video will be that video, so you can subscribe to be informed. The Sage mode also has its own special abilities, like Frog Martial Art. In this technique, the person can attack the person with the chakra by directing as if it were a limb. Learners in Ryuchi Cave can also control inorganic substances by giving life to them with the nature chakra. I think the Sage mode was the best last technique in the Naruto universe before the power scales moved from traditional ninja techniques to intergalactic super alien powers. Especially the pleasure of watching Naruto and Pain match is just another thing that I want to forget and rewatch. That entrance of Naruto make me feel like Thor's entrance in Wakanda. I wish there were more powerful but ninja techniques like this. Anyway, the video is over, guys. If you watched this far, you already enjoyed the video. If you leave a like, you will make me happy.